Don't let your depression define you. Depression is an emotion, not a condition. We've kind of created this stigma around depression that it's almost like this incurable thing that you get and you have to live with it for the rest of your life, and it's chronic and it's following you all the time, and it kind of defines your way of living. And that's not to discount anyone who is severely depressed, chronic depression, etc. Like, I'm not trying to come out and say like, oh, depression isn't real, depression's a mindset. Like, that's not my intention at all. But we need to kind of approach depression in a more casual sense. I think when people think of depression, they immediately shift their tone downwards into like a hush hush voice of like, oh, like, you know, you're depressed, you're suicidal, you know, like, and they kind of have it in this umbrella of, you know, mental health, stigma, and it just feels like a sensitive topic all the time. And it is a hard thing to talk about for sure, but I think that, you know, every single human being has or will go through depression at some point, as it is an emotion. You know, it's basically an add-on to sadness. In my kind of the way that I perceive depression is it's practically like being sad, but you don't have a reason for it, you know? Like when you're sad, it's generally because of something. You might have had a bad day, someone might have said something to you, you know, you might have lost a friend, something like that. But depression is kind of like that feeling, that same feeling, just in an inexplicable, like it's happening for an inexplicable reason. It's a natural response. Depression is a natural response. When our brain gets overwhelmed and stressed, its panic center kind of goes off, and that causes us to shut down. You know, it causes our mood to drop, our energy to plummet, because our brain thinks that we are in trouble and thinks that we are in like imminent danger, and so it's like retreating. Basically, we're like a turtle that's like pulling back into our shell, if that makes sense. So that's why you might notice why you sleep a lot more, you feel sluggish, you don't have the mood to interact with anyone, is, you know, your brain is literally in survival mode. And it's the same thing with anxiety. They go hand in hand, but you need to stop letting these two emotions define you, because that is how you will get your power back and get control over your life. I stopped viewing the depression that I experience and the anxiety that I experience as like a part of me, and more so just view it as like a state of mind in a sense. It's like clouds. Like each emotion's like a cloud, and obviously there's some very beautiful ones and then there's some stormy ones, you know. And the stigma that I see around depression is it's like a never-ending storm, clouds that just don't go away. You know, it's when the sky, you know, those days where the sky might be gray for like 5 days straight, you know, in the winter or early spring, and it just feels like it will never get better. But the reality is, it's like an average day. You know, you have clouds that blow by, and the good ones come and go and the bad ones come and go. And I think we tend to latch on to the bad ones, and we tend to hyperfixate on like, oh, I'm struggling really, really bad right now, because our brain is trying to keep us safe. It's focusing on like the worst things we're going through. But we need to work on letting go and just detaching from that. I know what it's like to experience depression. Like I plummeted very, very badly, and I lived in it so much. It was like every day I was depressed, and it ruined the quality of my relationships and the quality of life. And even for the last like 2 months, I haven't really been that depressed, because I've changed my perspective on depression and anxiety, and I started viewing it more as like a temporary instead of like a permanent. And that's really helped me. You know, I've had bad days, of course. I've had horrible days. Of course, you know, The ending of a 9-month relationship is not easy, especially when it wasn't your choosing. And so I had some pretty bad days, but I looked at every day as a new day, and I didn't carry over any negative emotions into the next day. I just focused on putting one foot in front of the other, and that's what's important. So, oh, I am so tired. I went to bed way too late last night, and I really regret it. Most of the time, depression stems from our bodies lacking a certain need. Like, generally, you might always feel sleep deprived when you're depressed because your body is literally under the impression that you're lacking sleep, you know? And a lot of people might stay up late when they have depression so that they can have more like time to themselves in the night, which in turn makes them more tired, and then in turn makes them more depressed. So it's like a vicious cycle. But the main takeaway that I want you to get from this is that depression and anxiety are just simply emotions, though. Like, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's true. Like, those feelings hijack our brain and our logical thinking the most out of any emotion, and like anger. But you can't let them control you. You can't let them define who you are if you can help it. I know that there is a lot of like chronic depression and anxiety that people experience, but if you can help it, like, just focus on flipping the page and breathing in and out and saying, all right, like, this is one moment in my entire day. I can't let 30 seconds ruin 24 hours. The meal of the day is a ham, egg, and cheese with jalapenos and avocado. I'm low-key excited to eat it, but I'm so tired. Might take a little nap on my break, but peace out, guys. Peace out. Stay blessed.